Welcome to the dynamic learning hub of XLR at Andheri East. A prime spot conveniently located at just a 5-minute walk from LIC Andheri Metro. In our journey of over a decade, we have proudly trained over 2 lakh students. We have also been recognized by Deloitte, Silicon India, and other accreditation bodies. Experience learning like never before in our spacious and comfortable classrooms. With high-definition projectors and state-of-the-art acoustics in place, we ensure effective learning even to the farthest point in the room. The hybrid mode is a game changer as you can enjoy the benefits of a light classroom from the comfort of your home. Even if you happen to miss any classroom session, you can still attend the same session with the same trainer at the same time at your convenience, maintaining consistency in your learning progress. Wanna get started? Join us for a demo or career chat over a cup of coffee at our Andheri branch. XLR. We don't just train, we build careers.
Yes, so the collaboration with XLR was an excellent one. We conducted a Power BI workshop with Advanced Excel over a span of 3 days. The workshop was almost 12 hours long in total. Mr. Karthik, who was an amazing trainer, helped the students understand the concepts deeply. I am sure that the students will be able to apply these concepts in their careers as well as their daily lives.
The trainer, Mr. Karthik, was an excellent person where he explained in very detailed manner on how to give great insights using very complex data sets.
So it was a machine learning workshop. We learned a lot from the course and it was a great experience attending the workshop.
The trainer was very helpful. He had a hands-on approach with his teaching and it was fabulous.
This was a great experience for me. So I would absolutely love it if XLR and its team would come again to our campus and conduct more events like this.
It was a great course and it started from basics and took me to a great extent.
The experience of the workshop was really nice. The feedback from all the students was positive. They understood the concept. The workshop was also practical based with some questions. The experience with XLR was very smooth. They helped us in conducting the workshop smoothly right from the booking of the vendor and deciding the course till the distribution of certificates. In overall, this workshop was a success during our Technical Fest Atmos, and I thank XLR for being a part of it.
I was very much interested in learning digital marketing course for a very long period of time, but I don't get a proper platform. So later for my college, I get to know about XLR and I enroll in XLR course. It was really good experience. Our course has been taken by Mayur sir, and he was very good teacher. He not only focusing on theory part, he is doing how real digital marketing works, and it was in total very good experience. I get so much of knowledge. Here they're not only focusing on study, they are also conducting different exam to test our knowledge. And as we are giving the exam, so to appreciate our work, they give certificates for the toppers, and along with the certificate they give hampers. Thank you, XLR.
Recently, I was searching for digital marketing courses online in Google, and I came across XLR, and I attended a digital marketing course which was for 15 days. My mentor Mayur helped me for attending these classes. So he is a very informative and helpful guy. In the course end, there is a exam which I topped. So I came to the XLR office in Bengaluru. This digital marketing course has helped my career and my skills to develop, and the certificate has helped my company to join. Thank you, XLR.
I came to know about this course from my college. Actually, for learning platform, this is very nice, and I learned from here ChatGPT and AI from online. Because he's teaching for me for AI generative and ChatGPT. We are using this technology in more. And after finishing the courses, I came from for collecting the certificate. I seen the classrooms and faculties. Classroom is very nice. After the completion of exam, they will give gift and certificates. Thank you, XLR, for giving these courses. I learned a lot of from this. I gained the more knowledge from here. And thank you for XL for teaching us.
Good evening all. I hope you all doing well. Okay, we'll start for the day. Roshit sir, good evening.
Yeah, Sushmita.
So you can start.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. I see the strength is bitless. Can you ask your friends to join fast? Can you remind them of joining the fast? Your community channels, you can paste that the class is started so that we'll be joining the class soon. So next 1 minute, I will start it up. I will share my screen and I will start it up. Good evening, Trambak. Good evening, Sanchit. Good evening, Simba Prasada. Okay, let me go ahead and share my screen. Yes, Simba Prasada, there was a class yesterday. You did not join yesterday? If you did not join, like you have a recording in your LMS, you can directly go to your LMS and watch the recording. Yesterday we have discussed the Spring. We have started with the Spring and we have discussed the Spring core. And then I have discussed the project structure and MVC design pattern also I have discussed. Good evening, Surab. Very good evening, guys. Yes. So how are you all? Okay. So you can go to the recording in LMS and you can listen this class. You'll be understanding it definitely. And you can once again you can revise those concepts as well, and you can go to the that notes as well. I've shared the notes in the GitHub, updated notes like day 6 notes, I guess. Yesterday's day 5, right? So day 5 notes, I have shared it already over your GitHub. So in the GitHub, you can see all those commits, you can see all the notes that has been updated. Okay. All the notes, the Spring Core notes and Spring Boot notes, I've shared it up. Okay. And MVC design pattern, that notes also I've shared it up on your GitHub. Okay, that image as well. So you can go through it once. So yesterday lectures I have not taken. No, yesterday class is there. I have taken the class on 7 to 9 regular. Okay. So can I get a quick recap on what is discussed in the last class over the chat? Who have attended yesterday? I see there was a less strength yesterday. So I see many were absent, but I think some of you are present. So who are present yesterday and have attended today as well. Please tell to your friends like what we have discussed on yesterday's class or what is what. Let's have a quick revision on that for the next 5 minutes, and then I will go with the today's concepts, today's session. Okay. So can I get a quick heads up? What is discussed? What we have started? Okay, we started with framework, right? What is framework? So can you tell what is framework? Yes, Preeti. Frameworks, framework modules, yes. So what is framework? What is framework? One famous example I have given on eating ingredient on your snack item. I have given that example as well. So your Maggie example I have given. Maggie 2 minutes, whereas noodles will take around 1.5 hours I have given. Yes. So basically, framework is nothing but a ready-made architecture, right? Yes, ready-made architecture. So basically, what I'll be getting, if I want, like in the case of your Maggie, what you're happening? Instead of preparing the noodles, you're going to the shop, and you're asking for that Maggie packet, you're getting it, up, and you're preparing that modules, right? You're preparing that Maggie in just 2 minutes because that is already made, ready-made. Like directly, you're taking it from the shop and you are putting it in water and you're preparing it up. But you're preparing your own ingredients. You can prepare, you can keep other vegetables or other masalas. You can keep it up. But the thing is, the ready-made architecture is coming, and other things you're adding it up as well on your wish, right? Otherwise you can directly use the same architecture. In the same way, in technology, the framework is nothing but a ready-made architecture where I'll be getting old code, what is duplicated in my code, or what the configuration duplication or your boilerplate code. So that whole code what you're writing in your JDBC, you will write in your JDBC, you will be writing all 7 steps, right? So you will be writing whole 7 steps. In every JDBC application, you're going to follow the same 7 steps, like import java.sql.star package, importing your uh, creating your driver object, or loading and registering your driver, establishing the connection, creating your statement object, executing the query. All 7 steps you will follow in every JDBC application. That is a duplicated code. To follow this duplicated code, where I should concentrate on my business logic, where the developer, I've also told the developer mindset yesterday. So developer mindset is he don't want to write the same code again. Once he wrote that, he likes reusing, otherwise he will write a new code. So the real developer mindset is this one. So you don't want to write the old code again and again, the repetitive code. He wants to write the new code. He wanted to write some other code, some other learning. The learning should be there for the real developer. The new code he tries to write, new challenges you need to face. Then only is called as a new developer. If not, he's just called as some chat some called as a normal traditional developer, but the real developer likes the new code writing. So in that case, this frameworks will help is make his life easier by removing the boilerplate code or removing the duplicated code. Yes, removing the duplicated code, giving the automatic configuration, auto configuration, whatever you need. So what is Spring Core doing? What is Spring Core doing? So we have seen Spring Core. In Spring Core, yesterday we have seen the program as well, right? Yesterday we have seen the program as well in your Eclipse. I have created a Spring Core app, and in this Spring Core app, like how to create a Spring Core app, I have discussed about this. Which project you will be creating for Spring Core app creation? Which project you will be creating? Can I get a heads up in the chat box? What project you will be using for creating your Spring project? Whether it is normal Java project or whether it is web project or whether it is Maven project. Which project you will be using for creation of your Spring Core project? Can I get a quick answer for these 3 options? 1, 2, 3. Which project is preferable, or which project is easier, or which project is comfortable creating your Spring Core project? Yes, Sandhya, correct. Any other answers? Yes. So basically, we'll be creating my Maven project. If you create a normal core Java project, you need to add the libraries, external libraries like your JDBC. That is not because Spring Core has so many libraries here. See, there are like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8 libraries over there along with the JUnit. So means these 9 libraries, if you go to the internet and you search for the Spring, and if you download it from internet, it will be a heavy task for you. So in that case, Java project is not feasible. If you create a web project definitely needs a web.xml file. You need to write again XML file here. Yes, so this is also not flexible. Whereas the only option that is left, which is useful, which is the best option or the feasible option, is Maven project. In Maven project, which is an important file where you will be importing your jars, the important file is form.xml file. Yes, form.xml file. So if you can see here, you'll have your form.xml file here. If you open this file, so if you open this file, you will have this XML code ready. So you'll be creating your Maven project, the Kickstart project, and then you can see the dependencies. We have added the Spring contest dependency here. So like that, it is coming. Yes, I'm removing this dependency. See, I'm removing this dependency, and I'm saving this up. Now in Maven dependencies, before you have seen Spring dependencies, right? But now you are seeing only JUnit because the JUnit is only there. If I paste the code again, if I paste the code again, if I do Control S, then if you can see in the Maven dependencies, if you observe, see all these dependencies has come. So from where if it is coming, if you ask me, sir, from Maven repo. Okay, we have seen that Maven repo. From there we have got the dependency, right? Like how to type your Maven repo. So you will be typing Maven repository. You'll be getting your first link here. First link here. Okay, and inside this, you're getting Spring contest here. You search for Spring contest. Because if you search for Spring contest, the first library you can choose. This is your Maven dependency, right? Spring. We have downloaded our Spring 6.2.3. Yes. So if you have copied this code, then you will be getting that. Right? You are pasting up here. Then all the dependencies are coming. Yes. Then what we have done. What is the use of your Spring core project? So basically, there are like multiple modules I have shown you as well, like Spring modules as well. So whether framework is a new technology, whether framework is a new technology, can I get a kick up in the chat box? Whether framework is a new technology. No. Then no, correct. So it is not a new technology. It is built on top of your existing technology itself. Like this image is not opening. So here in session notes, you will get all the notes here. Okay, all the along with the images as well. Okay, I will be saying it up here. Bring modules image. You can see here, this is a testing module. On the top of it, you have your core module. Then you have your AOP module, aspect module, instrumentation module. This image is not clear. So all the Spring modules were there, right? So this is a Spring documentation, guys. Everything you can edit from here itself. So whatever you wanted to, like every module you can edit from here. Okay, so this is Spring official documentation, this spring.io. Okay, so if you can see the image here, we have the test module. On top of it, you have the Spring core module. Then you have your AOP, you have your aspects, instrumentation, messaging, data JPA here, and then you have your MVC module as. Okay, so this we have seen yesterday, the Spring core module. Basically, the Spring core module, what it will do means, so in core Java project, in your normal core Java project, you are creating your object, right? You are creating your object by yourself. For every class, some 10,000 class other, you will be creating by your, you'll be creating by yourself. But here in Spring core module, what it does means, it will create the object by itself. Okay, basically I will call it as bean. Object is also called as beans. So it will, once you ask him, like I want some Flipkart. Yesterday we have seen, I want some Flipkart, or I want some e-cart, or any other object. If I want, it will only give it up. This will only give it up. So who will take care of creation of objects means the Spring containers. Okay, the Spring Bean container takes care of creating the objects, viewing your object, destroying the objects as well. So how many types of containers are there? Yesterday I asked you one assignment question as well. I've given you one assignment question. So what is the difference between Bean Factory and application contest? Right? So Bean Factory and application contest. This Bean Factory is the old container, whereas the Spring contest is a new one. Right? This Bean Factory is a old container, whereas this application contest is a new one. Right? So okay. So what is happening here? This is a new one, whereas Bean Factory is your old container. Okay. So what is the difference? Yesterday I asked you, right? This Bean Factory does lazy loading of your objects. Basically, the main difference is this Bean Factory will give lazy loading of beans. Means when you ask Flipkart object only, it will create and it will give you. When you ask eCart object only, it will create and it will give you. Or when you ask some other object only, it will create and it will give. Then and there it will create and it will give. But whereas application contest does eager loading. Application contest does eager loading means if you don't ask also it will be. Like it will create and keep it at side. And when you ask it will be. Means it will create all of, suppose there are 10 classes are there. For all those 10 classes, it will create the objects automatically. It will create the objects automatically and keep it at its side. So once you have given in the XML file, you are giving, right? So you have created your XML file as well here. Your resources folder, here spring.xml file. This XML file is needed. Whatever you wanted to write, you should be creating with a bean itself. And then you created your bean eCart, you created your bean Flipkart as well. So for these two objects, it will create automatically. It will create automatically and keep it at its side. And once you ask here in your public static void main, in your main method, if you ask, it will give it to you. So the implementation is for your application contest. It is new class path XML application contest. Okay. New class path XML application contest. And for this, you can say the application contest. Okay, you can also go with the application contest. Okay. Okay, then application contest. What XML. Okay, like this, you can create the implementation as well for your application contest. So application contest basically what it does means it does your eager loading. Okay. So the main use of your Spring Core is creating your containers, and creating your beans. Okay. Creating your beans as well, creating your objects as well, And next one is dependency management. Yesterday, Flipkart object needs what is dependency management also I told you. So Flipkart object needs your eCart object. So eCart object should be injected to Flipkart. I have told you. Cart should work. eCart should be there. So that is nothing but dependency management. This dependency injection or dependency management will also be taken care by your Spring Core module. Okay. So this is yesterday's class. Yesterday, like class has happened. Yesterday class has happened. You can get your recording in the LMS. Okay. Yesterday is Monday, right? So on Monday the class is there from 7 to 9. So you can choose. You can take the recording or your YouTube link. You can get it from the YouTube as well. Okay. So then we have discussed about one pattern, that is MVC pattern, which is an industry oriented pattern, right? Then we have also discussed about Spring Boot. So why Spring Boot is required? So basically in your Spring, you are doing the configuration by yourself. You need to write either XML configuration for sure, so that all configuration can be overridden or can be overstriked off by your Spring Boot. So there will be auto configuration. There will be auto configuration here. Okay. One moment is. Sorry, I switched on my charging function. Okay. Are you able to hear me? Hussein, are you able to hear me? So basically, in Spring Boot, you'll be getting your auto configuration. Okay. Then Spring Boot also have your embedded Tomcat server, right? You'll also have your embedded Tomcat server as well. Like, yeah, like you'll get your server by default, the development server by default. And then you'll be getting your H2 database as well. So internal H2 database. So that is all happening through your Spring Boot. So then we discussed our MVC design pattern. So if you can see, so what is MVC, guys? What is MVC? we discussed this design right yesterday. So we have our MVC design pattern. So M stands for your model, right? So which will interact with the DB, this model layer. So we will have industry level in an enterprise level project. The Java project will be divided into multiple layers to serve different functionalities. Okay, there are different functionalities by each layer at two different execution limits by each level. Then the project will be divided into multiple layers. So basically, you'll have your model layer, you'll have your controller layer, you'll have your service layer, right? So this model layer, or in this model package or in your model layer, you'll be writing all the model classes or entity classes or your DTO classes, etc. You'll be writing, which you should be interacting with your DB, which you should be interacting with all the JDBC logic or Hibernate logic you'll be writing inside this model layer. Okay. Then inside the service layer, you'll be writing your actual logic and actual business logic you'll be writing inside the service layer. And then inside the controller layer, you'll be writing the code which is having your REST APIs or the controller code. This is like your main gate. So all the requests, suppose I'm requesting for Flipkart, www.flipkart.com/mobiles. So immediately the request will move into the controller layer. Yes. So in the controller layer is the main gate. Yes. So where it will take up the request and accordingly it will call the service class. Accordingly, it will call the service class and then accordingly it will call the repository layer as well. Okay. So based on this, it will work. So the request will be moving to the controller, then it will be moving to the service layer, and then it will be moving to the repository layer. So this service layer will take help of this DO layer or model classes, and this model classes will take up your DB logic, and the data will be moving first to the service layer, and then it will be moving to the controller layer. And then this controller layer will choose, like based upon your logic, it will choose required view layer, view JSP file or HTML file, and then it will send it to your browser for the where you will be getting up the response. Right. So this is your MVC level design pattern that we have discussed. Right. So in Spring Boot, you'll be working with only annotations. Right. You'll be working with only annotations. So for that reason, we have the specific annotations for each layer that also I've discussed yesterday. So here the main get to represent any controller classes, I'll be going with the @controller annotation. Okay. Then to represent service layer, to represent service classes or your business logic classes, I'll be going with the @service. So when I'm writing, what will happen means internally it will also create the bean, it will create the object for these classes. Okay. So the component annotation will be embedded here. So that will create the object for this class. Instead of writing XML, that will only automatically create for all your classes. And then component will create etc. So internally in the backend of controller, you will have component, and for service also internally embedded with component. Repository is also embedded with the component. So whatever logic it is interacting with the DB, you will be writing whatever logic you are writing with DB, you will be writing repository, and whatever classes that are interacting with the service layer, you will be writing whatever classes you will be writing that you'll be representing with service, and then you'll be writing your repository as well. Okay, so that is your MVC design pattern. So you'll be representing each and every class with that. Okay, so now like this is what we discussed in the yesterday's class. Okay, now can you tell me, like, are you watching IPL? Are you watching IPL currently? Like, you're opening your class and are you watching IPL at the same time? Doing multitasking? Huh? Is anyone doing multitasking as well? Suppose you are not seeing the live match. I think you're all good students, so you are not seeing the live match. You're listening to the class, but sometime in some break, in some 2 minutes or 1 minute, you are in the other tab. You're opening your live. Suppose the favorite team matches are going. What is the match going today? What is the match going today? Okay, so it is LSG versus DC, right? Yeah. So, okay. So, are these your favorite teams? Lucknow, how many RCB? This, okay. Okay. So, suppose your RCB and CSK were only playing your matches. Okay, RCB versus CSK or MI. Okay. Then you are watching your live scores. Let's suppose the class is also there. At 7 to 9, the class will be there, right? For sure you'll not be able to see the live match of at least the first team. The first team you'll not be able to see. The second half you'll be able to see after 9 o'clock, right? Suppose now what you'll be doing then in between what you'll be doing, you'll see the highlights. Okay, Sanjay, good. Okay, afterwards you'll be seeing the highlights. Okay. So the thing is, suppose like you're listening to the class, you're all good students, right? So I think you'll be listening to the class only. You'll not be seeing the live match. You'll miss that live match. Then what you'll be doing, since these are your favorite teams, in some time you will open the one tab and you will search for IPL live score, or like me, IPL live score, or you will go to the click bus and you will enter, you will see the scores, right? The live score you will see. Okay. Like in between, you will see the live score. Since your favorite teams are playing, definitely you will see the score in between the class as well, right? So, how the scores are reflected here? My question is now coming to the technical part. As a Java developer, I will ask you, as a developer perspective, I wanted to ask you how the scores are represented. How the scores are represented there, or how the scores are coming there. Dynamically. Okay. My question is now, is any developer sitting behind, is any developer sitting behind and updating the score for every second? Is any developer updating the score for every second? Like he's writing the code continuously to update it up? No. Dynamically updated. That only I'm asking how it has been updated. How it is been updated. Dynamically it has been updated, it's okay. Then how it has been updated? How it is been updated? A developer, he will be sitting for whole match, for whole 3 hours or 4 hours, 4.5 hours. He'll be sitting and he'll be updating for each second. He'll be deploying to the production. He will be deploying to the server every time he writes the code. Ajax calls. Okay. 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 Any other answers? Okay. Callback function. Okay. Okay. So, okay. So I have another question. Weather app. You know weather app, right? Is there in your mobile the weather app? What is the weather, or what is the temperature? You check, right? So how that is been updated? Is the developer sitting and he is developing? He is every time updating the like 27 or 34 or 35. Then it will not be dynamic, right? Is there any sensor in your mobile? Is there any sensor in your mobile? Right? So what will be happening is, if I can explain you this. So suppose I will explain to the ClickBuzz example itself. So this is your ClickBuzz application. Okay. So this is your ClickBuzz front end. Okay. Suppose this ClickBuzz is developed using your React itself. Okay. Using your React itself. And the ClickBuzz backend is developed through Java. Okay. ClickBuzz backend normal business logic is developed through Java. And in the service layer, you need to get the scores embedded. All the cricket scores should be embedded every time dynamically. It should be embedded. So if a developer sits behind and if I update the code every time, what will happen means like it requires each for every change in enterprise level application and for every change in a business application, what happens means you need to keep on like you should it should go through a deployment cycle. So you should go all SDLC should be followed. So first the code should be written, it should be tested, and then it should be designed first. Then it should be tested, it should be developed, and then the testing should be done. Then it should be deployed onto the server. Before deploying, also major testing should be done, and then the maintenance should be done. Everything this cycle will go on. It will not like for every change in code, this cycle should definitely go on in enterprise level application. Otherwise, it is not the application will not work as well. Like these all stages should be there. So for that reason, like they will not make changes in the code once they have developed and once they have deployed. If they want any change, also they will put the application either in maintenance stage and then they will do it up like sometimes you'll get it up, right? Your bank applications majorly, you'll get an email that it will be in the maintenance stage, will be from this time to this time. So like that, it should be in the downgraded and then it should be developed. But the thing is, here what they will happen, how the scores will be reflected dynamically, if you ask me, in this, here comes the part, which is most running in the industry, that is REST APIs. Okay, so basically this course where it is generating this course where this course should be embedded in this website, right? So what they will do, they will connect to a server, your BCCA server. Okay, so this is your BCCA server. So this BCCA server will keep on updating the scores, by some sensors. Okay, keep on updating the scores by some sensors, and this BCCA server will expose some REST endpoints. Okay, will expose some REST endpoints. Okay, this BCCA server will expose some REST endpoints for every sport. Okay, for every ball, they will expose some REST endpoints like getting the score, get score endpoint, some endpoint they will expose, and this endpoint what it will do means some endpoint means nothing but some URL it will give. So how you are accessing your YouTube or how you are accessing your Zoom link, if you wanted to join this session, we are exposing the XLR is exposing some URL. In the same way, this BCCI server will also expose one URL kind of thing. That one I will call it as REST endpoint. Okay, this REST endpoint, what it contains, if you ask me, it will contain some JSON code. Okay, in JSON structure, the score will be exposed. Okay, the JSON code will be exposed. So JSON code in the sense JavaScript object notation. Basically, the JSON code will be like this. If I can write it up here. So you will have this curly braces here. Okay, you will have this curly braces. Then inside this curly braces, you will have your score. Like suppose IPL score or RCB or some CSK score. Like that, they will expose some API. They will expose some answer here. Like every minute, this API will be updated. Okay, this API will be updated every minute, and then what is the ball or what is the over. Like that, they will expose all the data through this endpoint in the JSON form. Okay, the JSON form, like suppose 6.5 is over, and then like this, they will expose all the data through JSON endpoint or JSON code. And this REST endpoint, we will integrate inside my ClickBuzz backend. Okay, we'll expose inside my ClickBuzz backend. So we will integrate this URL. Suppose the URL is some www.bcci.com/getscore. So that endpoint, that URL, I'll be writing up inside my ClickBus backend. Okay, I'll be integrating up here. I'll be integrating in my code. In my code, I will integrate that endpoint. That endpoint, I will integrate. I will integrate that endpoint here. Then this core will be reflected in the Java service class. And in the same way, this Java backend also will be running on separate server. This Java backend will be running on your separate server, and your front end, your React application will be running on the separate server. Okay, so how they will interact means server-server communication will only be there. So basically, this Java application will also expose the endpoints again. The REST endpoint they will expose. Okay. So if you wanted to get score on the front end, you wanted to see the screen on the ClickBus website, you wanted to see the screen. This Java backend also will expose endpoint. This endpoint should be integrated inside your ClickBus application. Okay, like that, the score will be reflected inside your ClickBus. Okay, like that, the score will be reflected in your ClickBus. So in BCCI server, they will expose endpoint, and this backend also will expose the endpoint, and this the server will also expose the endpoint. Like that, only your weather application also, your weather forecasting, that government agency will go with the weather forecasting. They will have the sensors and they will expose endpoints so that in any application I can put those endpoints. Yes, so like that, the thing will happen. Okay, so basically that's why we are getting the scores here. This Google also, see, I've opened this IPL live score, right? This Google also will have an endpoint here. So this is an application, and for every ball or for every over, for every ball, the JSON endpoint will be updated. And the same will be like, as you said, Ajax calls, you're calling it, right? Ajax calls are in the front end, we'll call it as generally Ajax calls are callback functions, right? So the endpoint will be keep on updating asynchronously, and then you'll be getting the scores ready here. So like that, we can communicate between the one application to the another application using the REST endpoints. Okay, using the REST endpoints. Okay, so to support this kind of applications, I can call it as distributed kind of applications. So here you see, you are interacting the front end server with the backend server. This backend server is interacting with the front end server. Suppose this is running on some server like HTTP bcci.com/get to score. This is the endpoint if they are exposing. Okay, this endpoint I'll be writing up here. Then your backend will also have some endpoint on which server it is running. Like that, you will have some endpoint. Okay, suppose it is running on localhost and on your local itself. Suppose one IP address it is like ClickBus backend. This is the endpoint. ClickBus backend / then get to score. This is endpoint. This I will be integrating in the front end as well. Like that, I will get the score reflected in the front end dynamically when it is being updated. Okay. So to support these kind of distributed, this ClickBus will run on. This ClickBus will be running on like on different server. This ClickBus will be running on different server. This front end will be running on the different server. This BCI server will be running on the different server. So server to server communication you're doing here. So this kind of applications, I will generally call it as distributed kind of applications. Okay, distributed kind of applications. These distributed kind of applications also you can develop using Spring framework. To support this distributed kind of application only, we have a separate Spring module, that is Spring REST. Okay, separate Spring module, that is Spring REST. Okay, basically in this we'll go with one annotation, that is REST controller. Instead of controller, I'll be going with the REST controller. That will help me in generating the endpoints or exposing the endpoints to the outer world. Okay, so basically to support these kind of distributed kind of applications, we have a separate module in Spring, that is Spring REST. So here the Spring REST module is being represented with one annotation, that is REST controller annotation. This REST controller annotation is part of this. This again internally part of your aggregate controller annotation plus response body annotation. Okay, so response body is whatever you are doing it to the request. So you're passing the, suppose your front end is asking for some scores, get score request, it is passing. Then you should give the response of score, right? So like that in the JSON format, you will bring the response. So that also you can do it. So these two things will contain. So we are going with the REST controller annotation. So basically any application you take, any enterprise level application you take, the same thing will apply. Like there will be server to server communication will only apply, and there will be REST based communication will only happen. Okay, REST based communication will only happen. Okay, so this whatever it is exposing, the endpoints it will expose, right? So whatever this is called as your producer application. So suppose your QuickBurst, your BCCA server is exposing some endpoints to give you the score. That application I will call it as producer application, and your backend is consuming that score, is integrating that score, is putting it the REST endpoint here, is consuming that score. Is consuming that score. Taslim, can you go on mute? Okay, so this BCA server is exposing the endpoints. It will expose other endpoints as well, get overs or get the player names or other things also. It will expose accordingly. Or who is in the back end, who is not playing today. Those all things, that all data will be exposed by the BCA server itself. All the endpoints will be exposed, and that application I will call it as producer application, because it is exposed. It is producing all the endpoints, all the data. Yes. Then this Java backend application is being consuming that endpoints. So I will call this as consumer application. And for front end React application, this is again called as your producer application. This is again called as a consumer application. So like that, on distributed applications work on producer consumer architecture. Okay, the one who is exposing the endpoints is called as producer, and then one who is consuming the endpoints is called as your consumer. So am I clear until this point what is REST-based architecture, or what is Spring? How does how the Spring is helping in developing? Which module is helping in developing the Spring REST-based applications? Am I clear until this point? Can I get a quick heads up in the chat box? Can I get a quick heads up in the chat box? Am I clear until this point? So now what I'll be doing, I have the code ready for Flipkart application. Okay, that e-commerce application, what you're doing on the day on yesterday, I've discussed it. That code I will be discussing directly. Okay, so how this all things are working, I'll be showing up in that code itself. Okay, then I will move to the front end part. The agenda is to discuss the project code today. Okay, in the next 1 hour, I'll be discussing the project code. Then I'll be moving into your front end part. That is, I will discuss the HTML part. I will discuss what is CSS, and then I will discuss the JavaScript. Okay, so that we are good for tomorrow to discuss the React, and then developing the React based front end to the your project backend. So today I'll be discussing the backend code, right? So tomorrow I'll be discussing the front end code as well. Okay. So I will go back here. So yesterday we have stopped up here, right? On discussing on creation of your e-commerce backend. Asked you to create your e-commerce backend. So how to create your Spring Boot project? Asked you to go to your start.spring.io. Okay. So start.spring.io. IO, and here choose your Maven project, choose your Spring Boot version. Okay, choose as Maven, the same Spring Boot version as default. And then you need to create your package, XLR package, form.xlr, and then give some project name here. So project name as e-commerce backend, and then generate it as jar and 21. You need not to go to Maven repository again and again for this Spring Boot project creation. You can directly add the dependencies from here. I want you to add a web dependency, I've told you, and I wanted to add data JPA to work with. So to work with Spring MVC applications and to work with REST-based applications, I need this dependency, that is Spring Web. And to work with database, basically, if you wanted to create entities, and if you wanted to create, like if you wanted to work on Hibernate code or JPA code, you need Spring Data JPA module where it and I wanted to add Lambda dependency as well to get that getters and setters automatically. And then I wanted the security dependency as well. Okay. Then MySQL connector driver as well, since we are working the MySQL driver. Okay. So these are your dependencies that I asked you to download yesterday. And then here, this is your Spring Boot project. Basically, I've done all those things. So in the pom.xml file, I've added other dependencies as well regarding to your security. Okay, regarding to your security, I've added other dependencies as well. And regarding to your, I will also deploy this code. I will also deploy all the images into the S3 of your AWS. So for that reason, I've added this S3 dependency as well. And I've also added the other JSON dependencies as well related to your JWT. Okay, related to your JWT. This also you need to add it inside your pom.xml file. Okay, then you will have all these dependencies ready here. Okay, dependencies ready here. So then I created the project based on MVC design pattern itself. So controller, then you have your DT1 entities, then enums and exceptions have handled, repository, then service, then security, then service of implementation. These are all packages I have created. So this is your main class. So in the main class, you'll be writing just spring.application.run. This run method will only create all the objects of your classes. Like it will only do the auto configuration for you. It will only embed your, like it will only invoke your Tomcat server as well. Like see in your Maven dependencies, the server will be automatically coming as well. So you need not to download the server as well. Okay, you'll be getting your Tomcat server as well automatically. If you can see the Tomcat dependency, where is it? 30. Yeah. So here you will have your Tomcat dependency as well. Okay. Then like to write your database properties, this is your main class. From here only you'll be running your Java application. Okay. Run as Java application. Okay. So then you will have your like that you can run it up. The server will be started and you'll have all the thing like other properties other than auto configuration. Other properties, if you wanted to add it up here, you can go with the application.properties file. In Spring Boot project, there is one application properties file. So there you can add other extra things, whatever is not auto configured. If you wanted to do your own configuration or anything, you'll be writing up the configurations here. Okay, this is a properties file. So you'll be going with the key value base. Okay, key is nothing but your property name and then is equal to the value. Okay, so here I put the in your JDBC code, in your Hibernate code in the previous sessions, what I have done, I have kept it in one configuration file. But now what I am doing, I am putting my database properties inside your application.properties file. So what I am doing, I am going with the first property, that is spring.application.name. This is my application name basically. Then server.port number. The application runs on this port number usually. If you don't write also, it's okay. If you wanted to run, this is the default port of your Tomcat server. If you wanted to change the port as well, you can change the port here. Okay, explicitly using the server.port property. And then you have your URL. Okay, like JDBC URL. This is JDBC main protocol, MySQL, then localhost, the JDBC URL. You'll be writing your database name here. This database name should be created inside your MySQL workbench using create database name. The database name should be created because your backend code will not create the database. Okay, you should definitely create. You should give your username, you should give your password, spring.datasource.password, spring.datasource.username and password. Then hibernate.ddl auto. I've explained this update as well. What is this update? So if the table is not there, it will create all the tables and it will only generate the query as well. Okay, your JPA only will generate the query as well. You need not to write the query as well. Then you have your class name as well. Okay, so in Hibernate, I've discussed you to create the tables. What is the class you will be creating? You'll be creating your entity class, right? Yes. So for that reason only, I've created the entity package here. I've created all these fields that are required for your e-commerce. So first is your address field, like address table I have created. So on the top of address table, I kept it as entity. Okay, at the rate table. At the rate table, why I'm writing? If you wanted to change, by default, it will create the address class name as your table name. But if you wanted to change, you can go with the addresses. Okay, like if you wanted to change the table name from default, you can go with the at the rate table annotation. Then you have your at the rate entity, you have your at the rate data. Yes. Then now you have all these fields: ID, streets, city, state, zip code, country. So these are all the column names that it will create. And for this ID, I've created it as at the rate ID. At the rate ID in the sense primary key column. And then generated value strategy is called generation type dot identity. Why I'm writing this means like that ID will be automatically auto-generated. So means it will be automatically incremented. So first suppose the first ID is generated as 101. It will automatically generate from now. Then you need not to pass the value again and again. Okay. So while you are passing the request, you need not to pass this ID. Only you will be passing state, city, your street name, your city name, your state, zip code, and the country. Okay. Then this address is linked to your user, right? Linked to a user. So for that reason, I am relating this address class to user entity. This user is again a class. You can see I've created the user class here, and user fields also I've created name, email, password, phone number. Okay, phone number. These all things are created, and this I am creating inside your address class. So this I am putting it inside your other class, and I'm mentioning the relation as well. So user can have many addresses, right? User can have many addresses, and and all the addresses are related to that particular user itself. So for that reason, what I'm mentioning, many to one annotation I'm mentioning. So many addresses to one user. User can have in your Swiggy application or in your Flipkart application, you'll be putting multiple addresses of your own, right? So for that reason, I'm going with the at the rate many to one, and here I'm passing one property here, fetch time dot lazy. Lazy in the sense when I ask only, it will create the user, it will create the address, this user for this user, like address for this user. Okay, so for that reason, I'm going with the lazy annotation here. Okay, lazy property here. Then this I'm creating the user inside your address table as well. So for that reason, I'm calling join column with user ID. Means the whole user properties will not be reflected inside your table. Only the ID, the user ID will be reflected inside your address table. Okay, that column only will be represented inside your user address table basically. All user columns will not come, only user ID will come, because this user is again a separate table. This user is again a separate table. So for that reason, I'm joining with the user ID column. Like your foreign key. I'm mentioning like a foreign key. You know the foreign key, right? So foreign key in the sense it will join both the tables. Right here, what I'm doing, I'm joining with the help of this user ID. I'm joining the user table as well. I'm joining the address table as well. Okay. Then you have your local date time. It will basically mention the when the address is created. We can also get that when the address when he is typing that, I can get the time of when he has typed with the address. Okay, in your application. Then we have the category table here. Category class. This category class contains your ID, name, that is again auto-generated, and then name. I'm representing with the rate entity, at the rate data. At the rate data is nothing but a Lambok annotation. So Lambok, what it does means it will generate like before what I used to do means I need to generate getters and setters by myself, or I need to write the code. But this Lambok, what it does means it is a tool. Once you have included the library, you have included already the library inside your form.xml file. Once you have included, once you have put this annotation at the rate data, and if you can observe this annotation, like if you can see all the getters, setters, required ask constructor, like parameterized constructor, toString method, equals and hash code. All these things will be coming automatically. Once you have put one annotation, that is @data annotation. Okay, all these things, the code will be coming automatically. So because of that reason, we are going with the @data annotation. Okay, this is a Lambok annotation basically. So all the things will be coming. Then @entity for representing your table. Okay, then ID, name, and product list. So list of products. So products will, like, category means, like, suppose you're clicking on fashion. You're clicking on fashion means all the clothes will be coming. And if you're clicking on mobiles, you're clicking on electronics. So then you will have your electronics products there, right? Then if you're clicking on some other category, like your fashion and I'm not able to remember electronics, then what categories you'll be having inside your Flipkart? You'll have other categories, right? So based on that, you'll be getting a products. So for that reason, I have listed with the product list products as well. So inside one category, you'll get all the products that were added as. So, and this product is again a separate table here. So product is again a separate table. This will contain your name, ID, image, URL, and the price. This will be containing, and then I've created all the category. So this is, again, you see here, I'm linking many to one here. So many products can be there inside your category. And when I ask only, it should predict and how it should be linked by category ID. Then in the category table as well, I'm going with the many to one to many annotation. Okay, one category can contain many products. So how you should link means, like, from your table, how this attribute is linked. So like that, you need to write your relationship one category to many products. Okay. So using the products list, I'm linking it up. So this is your column name. Okay, list of products, I'm adding it up. So all the list of products will be showing inside your category. Then when the category is created, that also I'm representing here. Item. So how many items they are ordering? So what is the status of that item? What is the quantity of that item? So like that, is it available or is it not available? That properties I'm representing here, and the order items are also linked to a user, right? So user will only take that item. That suppose mobile is there, he's taking 2 mobiles or 2 clothes. That particular user, the other user can take any other quantity. So product can have multiple quantities or multiple order items, right? So one product only can be ordered multiple times by one user, right? So like that, I'm representing here using the product annotation. And then you have your orders as well. So multiple orders can be created. So we have a separate order table here. So in this order table, I'll be writing the fields as what is the ID of that product, what is the ID of that order, and then the total price of that order. Okay, that contains ordered item list as well. So one order can contain multiple order lists. Like that, I've represented the entity. So like that, I've defined all the entities here. Okay. Then I represented another package here, that is DTO package. DTO in the sense data transfer object. Okay. So entity, if you can ask me. So if you can ask me what is entity means. So I've already told you while discussing Hibernate. So entity in the sense, directly this entity class will be mapped to the database table, right? Directly this entity class will be mapped to your database table. Whereas DTO, what is DTO if you ask me? So data transfer object it is. So data transfer object. So when you are giving the response, whatever you are interacting with the entity, if you directly pass the entity, what it will happen means, it may store it in the table as well. Like it will save in the table, it may change some database as well. So database updation or database changing your database entities or changing your database data is a costly process. You should not touch the database. Once it is done, some products are there and some that is done. You should not touch the database storage option until you should not touch the database for your update for your DML operations. Insert update or delete, should not touch. So it is a costly operation. If you have some changes, some data inside the database, then your whole website will be affected. right? So for that reason, our whole your business will be affected. So everything, whatever DML you're doing, you should be very cautious about your database data. So for that reason, this entity tables, entity classes, we will not touch to give the response or to take up the request from the user or to give the response to the user. We will not touch this entity classes. Then what they will make up is this in the same way how it is there entity. We'll mock up the DTO classes. We'll mock up the DTO classes, and from here only from DTO classes only this DTO classes only will interact to send the request or to receive the request or to get the response. This DTO classes only we will link it up, but we will not interact directly with the entity classes. So for that reason only I have created again the DTO class. So these DTO classes will also contain the same fields as your entity classes. As your entity classes only, the same classes will be creating again. Okay. As your entity classes on the same classes will be creating again address, category, order item, DTO, order item request, everything will be creating along with the request classes as well. So basically, if you can say order item DTO, or have this DTO class. So be on the safer side. I will be going with the DTO classes. So the same things will be there in the same fields, the same thing will be there inside your DTO classes as well. Okay. But the thing is the annotations, I've included this. Well, I need to pass a JSON response. I'll be taking the JSON request. I need to pass a JSON response as well. The whole communication will be based upon the JSON only. So for that reason, I've included this annotation. This is at the rate JSON include. So JSON dot include dot null in the sense if he is passing any of these fields as null, it will not take it up. It will not take it up. Or if I am passing the response as anyone as null also, it will ignore. It will not take it up. It will do validation. So for that reason, I'm going with this annotation. Then JSON ignore properties also. Ignore properties in the sense if he is ignoring any of these properties, then also it will not work. The application will not work. So for that reason, I'm going with this annotation on the top. Then all hours constructor in the sense for all these fields, the parameters constructor will be created. No hours constructor in the sense for this class, default constructor will be created. Like that, I have created all these DTO classes. Then if you can see this login request class also, I've created extra. Login request in the sense I will be creating login and register pages right on the front end. So for that reason, I have developed the backend like email and password basically. So email and password, when I give the email and password, it will be login right when I click on submit button. So for that reason, I've given one validation check as well at the rate not blank. So basically, when I'm giving the email as blank from front end, it will not work. So it will tell email is required in the backend as well. And for password also, password is required. It will tell in the backend. So that validations again. For that reason only, I've added this dependency. That is validation dependency. I've added right validation jar file. Okay, in the Spring Boot while creating the project. So for this thing on for this not blank annotations only. Okay, then you have your order request. So while creating the order request, while creating your order, while asking for the while creating your order or while checking for whether the items are there or if the payment info is correct or not. For this reason also I've created this order request. Then you have your order item request as well. If the products are available or not, you can check it up using this class. Okay, like that I've created all the DTO classes to basically pass a request or to get the response. Okay, so these are your entity classes. These are your DTO classes. Then I will go on with exception package. So basically, I've created two exceptions here. When something is not found or when so I've created my own custom exception. I can create my own custom exception like I will use like basically there were like predefined exceptions I have told you right in exception handling concept. I can also create my own custom exception by extending from runtime exception class or exception class. Okay, so I've created the one exception, my custom exception, that is not found exception. So I'll be throwing it from the response when some exception has occurred using this exception. So for that reason, I've created this class. Then I've created another exception here, invalid credentials exception. So when I'm getting some request, when I'm getting some response, or when I'm getting some exception in the controller code, then I will throw this exception. So for that reason, for all the exceptions, generally what you need to do means, generally what you need to do means, generally what you need to do means, you need to create a global exception. Like for every exception, you need to handle it inside your controller class. Okay. For every exceptions, you need to handle, if any exception has occurred, you need to definitely handle the custom exceptions also you need to handle. So for that reason, what I am doing, I'm going with one class instead of handling it in every controller method. What I'm going is I'm going with one global exception handler class. So any exception occurs in your code or any exceptions occurs inside your controller method, okay, that will be handled by this global exception handler class. Okay, that will be handled by your global exception handler class. This global exception handler class, so for to handle any exception, any exceptions happening inside your controller class. So for that reason, I am mentioning controller advice annotation. So means any exceptions that occurs, it will be handled up here by this class, and I am writing few methods to handle it as well. So when exception has occurred, like this, the response, the predefined response will come. When not found exception has occurred, I'm creating one method to send the response here, to send the response, all these things, etc. from here. And then when invalid credentials has occurred, I'm sending this response as well. So like that, for every any exception has occurred, this global exception handler class will be able to handle. Okay. So like this, I have created the 3 classes. Okay, I have created the 3 exception classes inside the exception package. Okay, then we have our mapper class as well, mapper package as well. So in this mapper package, what it will do means, so basically, if I am sending the request or if I am getting the response also, I need to definitely interact with your entity classes to store something in the database or to get the data from the database, right? So for that reason, this mapper classes, what it will do means, it will convert your entity class to DTO class or DTO class to entity class. That logic I am writing inside your entity DTO mapper. Okay, entity inside your entity DTO mapper, I am writing that logic. Okay, I am writing that logic inside your entity DTO mapper to convert user DTO, like to convert user DTO to user entity or address DTO to address entity, or mapped like category DTO to category entity. For all that mapping logic I have written here for every entity. Okay, these are all methods, like just the Java logic I have written. Okay, then I have my enums package. So in this enums package, I'm creating like whether the order list, like you have your order status, right? So whether it is pending or confirmed or shipped, delivered. So these all status I'll be writing. I'm taking like it's a enum is like an array, like same like your array only. Enum is a separate class in Java that is same like your array where you can write your constants. Okay, so your pending, confirmed, shipped, or like that, you can write it up inside your enum class. So am I clear until this point? Yes. Then user role, like whether it is admin can create. I've written the code in such a way that admin can create the category, admin can create the products. So like the admin can create, also check the user credit, users as well. You can delete the user like that. I've created the code. So for that reason, we have 2 roles, that is admin and the user. I will discuss the controller or service or repository. The main packages are these only: controller, service, and repository. First, I will go with the repository package. So repository package, in the repository package, I have created all these repos for every entity. I have created one repository. Okay, for your address repository. For your category entity, I have created one category repository. For your order items, I have created one order item repository. And for your orders, I have created one order repository. For products, I have created product repository. And for users, I have created one user repository. Okay, so for addresses, so basically how to create a repository means, like I've created an interface, then I've extended it from JPA repository. So if you can see, this is only nothing but your, this is coming from your Spring Data JPA. And if you can see in the JPA repository, you will have all the methods. You can directly use this method. For saving into database, you can use directly the save method. If you wanted to search for find for your selecting for retrieving the data, you can go with the find all method here. Okay, you can all find all method here. All the CRUD operations methods, you can directly use it. Any other extra methods also, you can write it up. You can write it up inside your interface. But all the CRUD operations, the basic CRUD operations, you can directly use it from this JPA repository. So for that reason, I'm extending the interface from JPA repository. This JPA repository has built address. So basically the JPA repository, like what is the entity class? I'm representing my entity class here. Okay, this JPA repository takes two fields, that is two generics. So one is your address entity, and the next one is what is the address ID? What is the data type of your ID? Okay, which is nothing but log. Okay, then you have your category repo. I've created the category repo, same thing. Then order repo, the same thing. Then your user repo, the same. In user find all, you can work with find all like that, or if you wanted to work with find also, the method will be there. But the thing is, you will not be getting to find by based on your user defined column. This is your user defined column, right? So for that reason, if you want, you can write it up like this: find by email means it will create the query by backend. Okay, it will create the query by backend. You can call this method to find the user by email. Okay, directly from your Java. Okay, then you have your order repository. Okay, then you have your order item repository. Okay, this is extending from JPA repository again. So like this, I've created all the repositories. I've created all the repositories for each entity. Okay. In your product item or product repos, I've created two user-defined methods, custom query methods. So basically find by category ID or find by name containing a description content. So like that, I've created the query methods. Okay, so this is your repository class. And then service class. So before going to service, I will go to the controller. So any request that is coming from your front end or all the API endpoints that you are exposing, you should be writing inside your controller. Okay. So basically, to create a controller class, you'll be creating a normal Java class and you'll be writing your REST controller on that. Represent it as a controller class. So here also, if you can see for your repository, I have created, I have represented with the, you should be generally writing repository here. Okay, you can represent using the repository as well. Okay, so in your controller class as well, to represent it as a controller class, you should be going the REST controller and slash address means if slash address URL, if you are doing like your servlet, you are doing your URL slash test or slash main, I have shown you, right? So when you are doing slash address, this endpoint will be exposed, this class will be invoked. And when you are doing save slash address slash save, then this method will be exposed. This method will be called, this method will be invoked automatically, save and update address. So here what I am doing, if save or update is required, I'm calling this method, and this method will be calling the save and update address from your, okay, from your address service. This method will be called. Then in the same way for your category controller also, I'm representing all the endpoints. So in category controller, for creating your controller, only admin can create the controllers. For that also, I'm writing the pre-authorized annotation. And for getting all the categories, I'm writing with get mapping annotation. Then for updating the category, I'm going with the put mapping annotation. Then for deleting the category, delete mapping annotation along with the admin can only delete the category. Okay. So get all products. Anyone can get all the products. User or you have two roles, right? User and your admin. Anyone can get the products, but your updating or deleting category or getting your category can be done by, or like deleting your category or updating your category. These kind of DML operations can be done by your admin. Like that I have represented here. So for all the like you should not write some people what they will do means they will write the whole service code inside your controller layer itself. So that is not a good practice. You should be definitely creating a service package, a service layer. There you should be writing the business logic for all these methods for deleting your category or get category file. For all the things I'm writing, and then for filtering order items also, I'm writing some paging.
Friends, there is some network issue, I guess. So trainer left the session. Please wait for 2 minutes. He will rejoin back.
Sorry, I got disconnected due to a network issue at my end. I will join the meeting again. Sorry for the disturbance. Am I audible? Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Okay. Okay. So where we are discussing our order item controller, right? So basically, I've created the order item controller. When I click on slash order, I'm exposing this endpoint slash order. And when I type this slash create as well, when I give the URL as slash create, I can create the place order. So with this, I'm exposing the endpoint for your paging request as well. I've written this code. And then we have a product controller. Okay. So in the product controller, I have all the things like creating your product or updating your product. So those are all endpoints I have. So when this method will be invoked, when I put this URL get product by ID along with the product ID if I give, then this method will be invoked, and this method, this path variable in the sense, so path variable in the sense, like over the path, over the URL path you're showing, you are going with the, you're passing the request, right? Along the request, you'll pass a product ID as well. To accept that, the slash, some product ID you'll be passing, some slash 678. So what you'll be doing, get product by ID. Okay, get product by ID slash 6788 will be passing. So now what will happen is, like this request, what is sending, what the client is sending the request, this request should be accepted. When you click on some product, the product ID will be there, right? That will be accepted by this parameter, and then that parameter will be passed to the product service dot get product by ID. Produce method, and then while once after this method is executed, and once you're getting the response, it should return me response entity. So I'm writing it as response entity, means it should response entity in the sense it will generate a like the backend. This is the library class again. Okay, this will generate the your JSON code. Okay, JSON code it will generate accordingly. So basically response entity dot okay, I'm telling okay in the sense it will return some status as 200, means the response is successful. If it is successful, otherwise it will throw you 401. Suppose you'll be getting like this, right? On your Google Chrome also. Suppose if you're typing flip one, okay. So then if you type www.flip1, www.flip1.com, then you'll be getting some 401 error, right? The address is not found or something. You see, the address is not found, and when you check the status of this as well, you'll be getting some 401. Like that, I can send the status codes as well using this response entity. Okay, response entity dot not found, like that I can send. If it is successful, I can send this response as well. Okay, like that I'm sending the response as well. Okay, using the response entity class. So like that, I've created the user controller as well, where I'll be getting all the methods. I've created to get all the user details. By the admin, I've get all users. You can see all the user details, or you can see the user info as well. Like every user can see his info, right? What is there on his website, his address, his name, his profile name, etc. His mobile number, etc. That type of things I can be done. Yeah, I've created the controller. So I've created all these controller classes, and now the repository class is also done. Then for before discussing the service layer, I will be discussing the specification as well, order item specification. So in this, I wanted to pass other order item details. For that reason, I am going with the specification class as well. For each and every item, there should be some way what is when it is created or what it contains, what is the status of the product. For that reason, I'm going with this order item specification class that user defined methods. And for I'll be posting the images of your database of your products inside your S3 bucket, S3 AWS S3 bucket. So for that reason, I have created the AWS S3 class as well, where it will save the image to the S3 bucket. This code will save the image to the S3 bucket. So what I'm doing, I'm writing I'm getting basic AWS credentials. I'm interacting with this. Tomorrow I will create that S3 bucket, and I will create the AWS account as well. And then I will create the S3 bucket, and then I will show how the images are stored there. Okay. So this is AWS package, and now I have created the security package as well for your for getting the password or for token generation. So for your login, for all these things, I've created the security package as well. In this security package, I've taken, so security is a separate layer. So the security also I will explain it up tomorrow while discussing AWS. Okay, for now I will discuss the service layer classes. Okay, so service layer package, if you can see, the service layer package. So I've created two packages on the services. So one is interfaces. So it's a best practice to always create an interface and then accordingly create the implementation classes for this. So it is always a best practice, guys, to create the interfaces without disturbing your implementation code, basically. So I've created all the interfaces for address service, And in this address service, I've created one method, that is save and update address. And I've created implementation class for this, implements of the address service. And then I've created save and update address. I've written all the logic here. So basically, user service dot get login user who has login, I'll be getting it up. Then user dot get address. Then if address is null, then if address is null, it should create a new address. It should set the address for that user as well. And then if it is street is null or city is null, like that, it should set the street as well. Like that, update also code, the same code I've written. And then address repo.save means the address should be saved to the database. So like that, I have represented it. Okay. So using just the same method, you can directly save all this address. Okay, that address object, I will be saving it. Okay. Then I've created another okay, then I've created category service interface as well. For this category service, I've created category service implementation class as well. Okay, getting all the categories, updating the category, creating the category, updating the category. These all things I have written, and I'm passing when it is all the things. Category repo. First, I will get it from the find by ID. I'll get the category ID from the from your repository. Okay, from your database. And if the category ID is there only, I will update it up. So you can update it up like that. And then if it is updated, then I will save it to your database. Then I will pass it as 200 status, category updated successfully. And dot build, which basically the response, whole thing will be clubbed up and it will be sent to your controller. Okay. In the same way, order item service simple. All the methods I have created, place order, the logic I have created. So next, all the things I have done. Then product service implementation class also I have created. So in this also, updating the product, creating the product, deleting the product, getting the product, all these things I have done. Then user service implementation class also I've created for creating your user, for generating the token for your user, for getting all the users. Those are all things I've done. Okay, so this is your service layer code, where this service layer will be interacting with the repository layer and along with the entity classes, and then it will give back the response to the controller layer. And when I pass this URL, this method will be invoked, and this controller layer will be invoked the service layer. Like that, I have attached each and every class. So if you can see here also, so see in every service class, I have attached your repo classes. Okay, I have address repo interfaces also I have attached, and in repository, I'm interacting with the entity classes as well, and every controller class. In every controller class, I have linked service classes as well. I've auto-wide, I've injected service classes as well. So this is the project with the controller layer, service layer, and your repository layer, as well as entities, as well as DTOs. So the only thing that is left for explanation is in this code, the security layer I need to explain. So security layer needs some explanation on the context, how the security layer works or how the Spring security works. That I will be discussing the concept, and then I will discuss the security layer, then it will be clear. Okay, this security layer I will be discussing. Basically, I need to discuss Spring security before this. So I'll be stopping the explanation for the security today. And then the other thing I need to discuss is AWS S3, how to invoke AWS S3 and how to create your sign up link, etc. Okay, so I'm done until this point. So this is a project backend code discussion on your e-commerce. So then I will be jumping into the front end now. So basically for this e-commerce, I need to create a front end, right? So full stack, right? I've done with the backend code, but for this front end, so basically in the backend, left part is Spring security. The Spring security I will discuss, and I will discuss that code. And the other thing that is left is AWS S3, how to invoke your AWS S3 bucket and how to post all the images or save all the images to the AWS bucket, and how to retrieve also. I will discuss it tomorrow. So this will be discussed tomorrow. And the thing is, so now I will be jumping into the front end. So front end, basically. So we have the basic, the front end language. We have our HTML. So HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. You already know it, I guess. Okay, Hypertext Markup Language. So this everyone knows. The basic first year student also knows this HTML. So why is HTML used? I have a question here for you. So you should only interact over the chat. Okay, why is HTML used or why is CSS used? So why is HTML used, guys? Over the chat. I should get an interactive response. Okay, you have your attendance like in the chat box. You can accordingly do that in the meanwhile. Like, please respond to the questions what I'm asking. You have plenty of time. You have another 15 to 20 minutes to do your attendance. So please concentrate on the concept for now. Okay, so what is HTML, guys? Why it is used? So HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. This to basically to create web pages. Okay, correct, Sanya? Any other answers? Any other answers? To create the structure of your website. Good, good, Preeti. To create the structure of your website. So basically, so see here, your Zoom only will take it up. So if you can see this website, Zoom website. So see, we have your Zoom on the right side, Zoom logo on the right side, and you have this Zoom like broader logo on the on your center, and you have this copyright. And in your website also, here also, if you can see Google Keep website also, you have all these utilities and you have all these things. And if you go down, you can extend like that. There will be a specific structure for each and every website, right? For every, there will be, you have your navigation bar on the top, you have your content in the center, you have your copyright on the bottom. Like that, there will be some structure defined for your every web page. Okay, for your web page, there will be some structure defined. So for every web page, there should be structure defined. The structure who will define is this HTML will do. So basically, the HTML will define your structure of your web page. Structure of your web page. Okay, web page in your website. So multiple web pages will be containing inside your website, right? To define the structure of any website, so you should have your HTML thing. Okay, so how you will be defining your HTML? HTML stands for hypertext. Hypertext in the sense hyperlinks. So one web page is linked to another web page link, right? One image is linked to another separate file. So like that, you'll be defining your hyperlinks. Then markup in the sense, this is a markup language where you'll be interacting, will be writing the code in the form of tags itself. That form of tags itself. And then you have, this is a programming language. Okay. Then we have all the predefined tags where you'll be writing, the predefined tags, and you will define your so the current version that is running in the market is HTML5. Okay, so I'll be jumping into the HTML. So basically, I will discuss it up directly, the structure here. So what you will be doing, like in your HTML code, how you will be writing on the top, one tag you'll be writing doc type HTML, right? Doc type HTML. So this doc type HTML represents what? It is a HTML5 version. And then you'll be writing your edit tag. Okay, you'll be dividing the code into three parts. Header, then you'll have your body. Yes, then you'll have your body. So this should be inside your HTML tags again. HTML opening tag, then HTML closing tag. Like this, you need to form the structure, right? So whatever you're writing inside the body, that will be represented in your website. Whereas head in the sense that will not be represented in your web page. But the thing is, it will give some more information, some more metadata about your website, about your web page. Like what is the heading, like it is representing, right? On the top of your tab, it is representing post attendance or Google or Maven. Like this, you can represent the title as well. You can represent metadata about your CSS. You can attach your CSS or JavaScript files as well. Otherwise, any external files you can attach over your edit tag. Then you can represent some other like it should be like viewing port as like viewing port in the sense like how it should represent inside your laptop or inside your tablet, how it should represent your web page. That sizing also you can give all this meta information you will be representing inside your edit tag. That will not be representing, that will not be displaying in your content. But the thing is, it will give some other more information about your web page. Okay, so if you're representing like this, it means you're using HTML version. Then you have your body tag, you represent your tag, and this body tag is again divided into some sections, okay, some divs, and you can also represent the footer tag size, right? So this is your structure of your HTML, right? Then we have our tags in your HTML. You know these tags already, I guess. So to represent your headings, you have your H1 to H5 tags. Okay, then HR represent your horizontal row. Then you have your break tag. Then you have a center tag, which is deprecated currently. To represent any text, paragraph text, you should be doing the P tag for representing your I. In the sense, italic EM represents like this is extended form. This is a extended form of italic tag itself. And then you have your B tag, bold and strong for your bold as well. Then you have all these tags. So here for representing your list of items, you have your LA tag as well, right? And LA tag, if you wanted to write numbered items, you will have your OL tag, order the list. If you wanted to create order the list, you will have your OL tag. Then you have your under like if you wanted on order list, if you wanted to create like star based list, you can go with the UL tag. And to create a table, you have your TD tag as well as TD tags basically. Okay, table data, right? Then to create your forms, as I said, you have to create your forms, we have your form tag. Okay, so this form tag will take two attributes, that is action tag and your method. So either it is post or get, and your action tag, when I click on submit button, this will be invoked, right? So then you have your input tags as well, right? For your text box, you have your input type as text. For password, you have your input type as password. And for your input type as color, like all the colors will be coming. And then for submitting your buttons or creating your buttons, you have a button tag, or otherwise you can also put the submit tag. Like that, you have your form type elements as well. Okay. Then you have your semantic tags. So semantic tag, in the sense they will give some more div tag or your summary tag or your section tag or your header tag. So these are all your article, in the sense you're representing the information as an article. Aside or details, these are all things you can give some information about some more information about your web page, right? So like this, you have your all the HTML code, right? HTML elements. So the best way you can learn all about your tags is MDN docs. You have your MDN web docs. So in this MDN docs, this is official repository by your Mozilla. So in this, if you go here, learn HTML, you'll be getting all the tags here, whatever each and every tag is doing. You can get all the information from here. So creating links. For creating links, I forgot what tag you'll be using. Href tag, right? You'll be writing for your anchor tags. So you'll be writing href attribute, and then you'll be going with the A tag for representing your anchor tag. For creating your images, what tag you'll be using? You'll be using the image tag, right? So like that, you can create your images. So videos also you can create using the video tag. Like that, you can go to this and you can find out all the tags. This is the official documentation for your HTML tags. Okay, so this is about your HTML. I'm not going. I'm not stretching up much because everyone knows HTML. Okay, every non-IT student also knows HTML. So I'm not stretching more on this because it becomes boring again if I stretch more. Yes. Then CSS. So what is CSS? Can I get a heads up in the chat box? What is CSS? So basically, correct with the beautification of your website, cascading style sheets. Good, Saramit. So basically, So if I write a normal HTML website, you will not be getting the colors, or you will not getting your styles, the formatted. Like you will not be looking good. You can create a website with normal HTML as well, but the thing is, it will not be good looking good for your eyes, right? To look good for your eyes, if you wanted to make it styling, or if you wanted to make it beautified, as you said, so you need to go with the CSS. CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheets. So you can design your website basically. So where you'll be including your CSS in the main HTML file itself, in the head section, you can include your CSS file. Otherwise, you can also go with one tag, that is style tag, to represent your CSS tags as well, right? Then you have your attribute selectors. So if you wanted to represent ID, then how you'll be writing your CSS basically, like within the curly braces, you'll be writing your CSS, each and everything. Suppose if you're writing selector, directly this is your selector, HTML tag selector, and you'll be writing your properties. So color, background color, or size, text size, etc. You'll be writing inside this thing, right? So what you'll be writing the code like this inside your style tag or inside the external CSS file, .css file, and you'll be writing all these properties here, right? So p tag or other attribute selectors. So you can write your other attribute selectors, body or list, like this you'll be writing. Other, you can also go with the, for selecting your divs, you can also create a class tag directly. So for class tag, you'll be going with dot class. It's so class name is something like section. So dot section you'll be creating. Otherwise, for IDs, you'll be going with the star, right? So those all things you can get it from the CSS. So basically, the box model of your CSS. So we can see the box model, like the last concept I will discuss, and I will. So CSS will have a separate box model, and if you can see here the box model. So in major, like if you wanted to design a website, you need to be very familiar with this box model. So in the center, you'll be having your content for every element. Suppose this is your H, this is your sum, H1 only. So in the top, you'll be writing your container. In the center, you'll be writing your container. And between your tag or between your container or between your, this is your container, suppose this is your div tag or your container. Between your container, you can put some space around your container. That space only I will call it as padding space. You can represent the padding space. On the top of this padding space, you can put the border for it. That is nothing but a border space. And between one element from one tag to another tag, if you wanted to mention some space, like suppose if you can see here, like there is some space between the circular dependencies and there is some space between this dependency, right? And if you can see here, this is your main content and this is your padding, like this white space, what is there between your border. This is nothing but your padding, and you have the border here, right? The surrounding border. And then you have this again, again, there is some padding here. And then you have that margin here between the content, between this new version and from between this dependency, there is some space here. That only I will call it as margin. Okay, that is only nothing but your box model of your CSS. Am I clear until this point? Am I clear until this point? So in the top, you'll be writing your content, then padding you can define, and then border. Then this is nothing but your box model. So in the interview, they will ask you, what is box model, CSS box model? You can explain as it is. Okay. So then this is also a best website for learning either HTML or CSS. So W3 schools, you'll be getting some color, like in the MDN docs, you'll not getting some colorful website here, like your documentation only it will look. But in the W3 schools, you will have the styling of the website very good. And then you can directly practice up from here as well. Try it yourself, means directly the editor will open and you can make some changes here and you can see the output as well here on the output here as well. So like that, this is also a good website to learn your CSS or HTML. Okay, so this is about your HTML or CSS part. Okay, then tomorrow I will discuss with the JavaScript. Okay, I will go with the JavaScript discussion tomorrow. Okay, so the agenda for tomorrow is I will start with JavaScript discussion tomorrow. Okay, then I will jump into the React. I will discuss the front-end code of your React for Flipkart as well. Front-end code for your e-commerce project. And then I will come back to your backend. I will discuss the Spring security once. The tomorrow 2 hours agenda I'm telling. Spring security once. And then I will discuss the security code. What is here? And then what I will be doing, I will create your AWS account. And then I'll be going with the S3 bucket saving as well. Then I will test these APIs in the backend using your Postman. Okay, using your Postman, I will test the backend APIs, and I will already include the backend APIs here inside your React code, right? I will also test the old full stack website as well. Old full stack app as well on the front. We'll check that. So this is the agenda for tomorrow's class. For the tomorrow 2 hours, I will do all this. Okay. So on that note, I'll be giving some assignments for today to practice. So first assignment is as yesterday, the same assignment I'll be giving today as well, to create your Spring Boot project. This code will be readily available. This e-commerce project will be readily available inside your inside your GitHub repository. You can directly download it as a zip file. Like I will show that as well. You can go to the GitHub. Sharing that URL once again. So you can directly go to this link. Okay, you can directly go to this link. Someone has asked, right? GitHub URL. I'll be sharing again here. Okay, so you can directly go to this link and download the project, e-commerce backend. So once you go here, and directly you can download it up as a zip file. Okay, directly you can download it up as a zip file. Okay, so directly you can download it up. Otherwise, you can directly clone this code and directly jump it up. Okay, jump it as a zip file inside your repository. Okay, once you have downloaded the zip file, directly what you can do, you can go to your Eclipse and go to File, Open Projects from File System, and go to your directory where you have downloaded, extract that zip file and select that folder. Extract that zip file and select that folder. Suppose this is your thing, and then click on Finish. Then click on Finish and click on Finish here also. Immediately the code, it will be coming into your Project Explorer. The whole code will be visible here. So for the task for today is just observe the code, what I have discussed, what packages I have discussed, or just observe the code of your ETO, entities, enums, controller, and then repository, then mapper, and then the service classes. Just observe the code, what I have discussed today, so that you will be getting more clarity by tomorrow. Okay, that is your first assignment. And the second assignment is the first assignment is e-commerce backend code observation. Okay, are you doing your assignments regularly? Can I get a quick heads up in the chat box? Are you doing your assignments? Yes, you should do your assignment, guys. Then only you'll get your answer. How much I tell also, that will be an oral explanation only. How much I do also, that will be a practice for me only. When you practice by yourself only, you will get something out of it, something out of these sessions. Okay, when you do your assignments and when you practice by yourself only, the coding part, when you do it from your when you do the actual coding itself only, then only you'll get a better understanding. Okay, how much I tell also, how much I show also, how much I practice also, that will be a practice for my sake only, for my side, like for me only, but for not for you. Because how much I tell the concepts also, that will be a conceptual understanding. My conceptual understanding will be better. But the thing is, your conceptual understanding will only become better or will only become understandable only when do actual code, when you do practice with the actual code. So please practice this. Okay. So the first assignment for today is, that's why I'm giving the assignment every day. The first assignment is like do this e-commerce project ready and observe the code. And the next one is HTML, CSS, you already familiar, right? You can observe the documentation as well. If you want, you can observe my notes as well. I'll be sharing these notes as well over your GitHub. You can directly observe the notes and create some portfolio kind of website for yourself. Portfolio kind of website for yourself. So basically, portfolio means you should have all these fields ready. You should have all these fields ready, like about me section. In about me, you should write something about yourself, like a resume kind of thing. Education table. You will have 10th or intermediate or your BTech education table along with the percentage like that. And you will have your skills as a list format. Then you will have your projects. Then you have your services, what services you can provide, and contact me section. And you can also go with the resume download. When I click on download, the resume should be downloaded. Like that, work on this portfolio site. If you have not worked on this portfolio site, please start doing it using HTML and CSS by tomorrow. Okay, just take it will not take much time. It will just take like 1 hour or 1.5 hours. If you're familiar with CSS and HTML, you can directly do this in 1 or 1.5 hours. Okay, so the thing you need to download by tomorrow is VS Code. Please download it. That is good for your front end code. So that editor is good for your front end. So download this VS Code. You can directly search your VS Code download. Okay, VS Code download. And you can download the VS Code from here. Okay, based on your OS, you can click and you can download. Okay, I need this editor, VS Code editor by tomorrow. And then I also need this HTML, CSS code should be ready for your portfolio. And then also need one installation again, one extra installation, that is Postman in your local system to test your backend APIs. So test in Postman, what we can do means I can check whether my code is working on it, whether my backend code is working on it without frontend using your Postman. So I will be testing this backend APIs in Postman tomorrow. So please download this Postman as well tomorrow. Okay, install this Postman. So directly you can go to your Google search, Postman download. Okay, Postman download. Directly you can download this utility file. Okay, download Postman and directly you can click on this link. You can click on this link, download Windows 64-bit. It will be downloaded. Okay, so that we can work on that tomorrow. Okay, these two tools should be ready by tomorrow, guys. Okay, these two installations should be ready by tomorrow in your local system. And please make sure you are doing this website thing and also creating the structure of your e-commerce backend as well. Okay, will you be doing it tomorrow? Can I get a quick response in the chat box? Can I get a quick response in the chat box? We'll be doing all those things by tomorrow. Yes. Yes. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay. So, sir, which app server is useful for backend to connect frontend? So basically, we don't require a server. In production, we need to have the servers. So basically, in production also, we'll be deploying the code in the cloud itself. Okay, we'll be deploying our code in the cloud itself. So cloud will give the APIs. And basically, if I wanted to go with the production server for backend, the production server that is good is Nginx. Okay, for backend, the production server we'll be using mostly is Nginx, but we'll be using the Azure or your AWS or GCP servers itself. Your cloud servers itself will be using most probably. Or if you wanted to deploy on other servers also, you can use this Nginx server. But the thing is, in your Spring Boot, we have our Tomcat development server already. And for your React also, in React also, we'll have the development server ready. Okay. Once you create the React project, you'll be having your development server. So we don't require a server installation externally. But the thing is, if you wanted to go with the production, we require a server for development. In the development phase, not in the production, like not for directly the deployment into production. For your development, for your learning, you don't require any server installation. Okay, got it, Prathamesh? Got it, Prathamesh? Any other questions? Any other questions? Yeah, thank you, Prathamesh. Any other questions, technical or anything? Any other queries? So if there are no queries, I can wind up the session here. Are we good to wind up then? Yes. So you have the GitHub code. I'll be sharing these notes, the HTML notes as well as JavaScript notes as well. and Spring REST nodes as well as this code as well over your GitHub link or your GitHub repository. So please make sure you are referring your notes over the GitHub. Okay. So on that note, thank you so much for joining and have a great evening as well as good night everyone. Thank you guys.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Yes.
Yes, students, thank you. We'll join again by tomorrow. Good night, everyone. Thank you.